July 6th, 2022. If you would all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first thing we'll do tonight is we have bids that were advertised to be dropped here at the county building and opened at 4:30 today publicly. This is for the Carbon County Bear Fire Emergency Watershed Project in Spring Canyon and Bear Canyon. So after the Bear Fire last year, there are areas that are receiving substantial damage from any rain that falls. And you're all aware that Highway 6 has been closed 3 times, I think. Justin, or maybe 4. Okay. Because of the storms that have come in. So this work, we'll turn it over to Seth. So Seth, how many bids did we receive?
There's 4 bids. The first one is JK and JK Allred.
Okay, so on these bids, we've asked them to give us a base bid of the construction costs and then a bid for how many days they're going to take to do the job. And we can award the bid according to the base bid or according to their days or the 2 added together. So I'll give you all 3 of those. And so the base bid for JK Allred is, oh, I gotta add it up. The total bid is $1,170,401. He has 90 days for the time, which is $90,000. So the base bid would be 1,080,401.
Read that one more time.
$1,080,401.
Maybe a brief explanation while you're opening the next one. The NRCS, the federal government, gives the county money to help with this work, but they have some pretty tight requirements, which one of those is a time restraint. If we don't have the work done in the window that they allocate, that we don't get the money. So we're trying to make sure that whoever bids on this is able to get it done in the window that we're given.
This one's from TSJ Construction.
TSJ has a total bid of $1,627,874.95. They have also bid 90 days, so that's a time bid for $90,000. And a base bid of $1,537,874.95.
This is from Nails Construction.
Nelson's total bid is $1,080,000. $335,014.10. They have bid 65 days for $65,000. And their base bid will be $1,270,014.10.
This is from Perco Rock Company.
Their total bid is $1,411,297 even. They have 75 days for $75,000. Their base bid will be $1,336,297.
I didn't introduce Merrill Johansson, who is with Johansson Tuttle Engineering. Thank you for helping there. So these bids, we do not have to award in our meeting today. They were opened. And it's probably recommended that we turn this over to a committee to, as well as the engineers, to make a decision and award the bid. Questions?
I have no questions. If there are no questions, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Where this is not on the agenda, can we make a motion on this or just acknowledge that the bids were read in the public?
Okay, that's basically what my motion would be, but I'll just take
I just don't want to step outside of the agenda.
Thank you. Thank you, bidders, those of you that are here. Item number 1 is approval of minutes from our last meeting. Does anybody have any corrections?
I saw no corrections.
Nor did I. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the minutes from the last, what was it, June
15th.
15th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 2 is employee of the month, Kellie Payne.
Hello, commissioners. Our employee of the month for July is a surprise. I'm just kidding. This person has been with the county since July of 2018, and Tina was actually the person to nominate them, so I'm going to go ahead and let her read, and it will just fall through. So,
yeah. I know you guys were saying, no way is it Tina again. Just kidding. I nominated myself. Okay, I just turned 50, so let me put those on. It says, Mama Hawk. I just love her positive outlook on life. If I'm having a bad day, go talk to Mama Hawk. If I'm having a good day, go talk to Mama Hawk. She truly cares for people, and I love her stories. She has the best ones. I have never heard her say anything negative about anyone. She always finds the good in a situation, which makes her an excellent candidate for this award. She is an asset to the county, and I'm glad she is who gets to greet the customers at the commission office because she leaves a great first impression, and I just love her. So, Miss Mama Hawk.
you know how hard it's been not to tell you.
When you said it's a surprise, I'm like, because they didn't deserve it?
You definitely deserve it. Do you want to talk to your commissioners?
Thanks, Commissioner.
We need more of a speech than that.
Use the
Well,
accent.
you know.
Tell a story.
No. It's awesome. Great. I love working here.
We appreciate your Congratulations. Thanks for all you do for us. Item 3 is review and possible ratification of the fiscal year 23 IDC Indigent Defense Commission grant agreement.
So commissioners, if I can take this for just a second. This is the Indigent Defense Grant that pays for our public defenders. We have a contract with them and it pays a large portion of that. It needed to be signed and moved on. So I did sign that and I'm asking for ratification. I did send a copy to Lori on the 29th. I believe I copied you guys as well. But I did not copy the attorney's office. So I apologize on that. And I believe it's already in the vault and recorded. So you should have copies of it now. Okay. Any questions? I think this is helpful for us where our defense contracts went up significantly. This helps offset our costs at the county and provides a good public service for those who are needing defense work.
Good. Any questions?
I have no questions. I'll go ahead and make a motion then that we ratify the fiscal year 23 IDC Indigent Defense Commission grant agreement.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I neglected to have a video shown, so it's been made public that the taxes for 2022 for most of us are going up, and we have an educational video that was prepared by the staff that is intended to try to help the public understand why that occurred. So if we could show that now, Seth.
Near the end of July, residents of Carbon County will begin receiving the annual notice of property valuation and tax changes in the mail. While neither the tax rate nor the county budget are increasing, the rise in the market value of homes in our area is leading to an increase in the taxable value of our homes, which may also change taxes in centrally assessed and commercial properties. Since 2020, the Utah housing market has seen record-breaking increases in the prices of homes across the state. According to Realtor.com, the median sale price of a home in Carbon County alone has increased roughly 65% from April of 2020 to April of 2022. As the sale prices of homes within Carbon County continue to climb, so does the market value of our homes. So what does this mean for you? With the taxable value of homes increasing, the payable taxes on your home may also increase. This will be reflected on your Notice of Property Valuation and Tax Changes form. To help you better understand why the taxable value is changing, we need to explain a few things. Property tax revenue, how the local real estate market affects your home's value, and how our local assessor uses that information to determine the taxable value of your home. Governmental taxing entities, which may include counties, cities, school districts, and water conservancy districts, to name a few, receive a portion of their annual revenue from property taxes. Property taxes can be broken down into three broad types of taxpayers. Centrally assessed, which is defined as commercial properties that cross state or county lines, such as railroad companies, mining companies, utility companies like telecom providers, power companies, and even cell phone providers, natural resources, and more. Commercial. This not only includes real property taxes on the business and land, but also the assets used in their day-to-day operations. This is known as unattached personal property. Residential. This comprises primary homes, secondary homes, and unoccupied residential properties. Now imagine, if you will, that these three property taxpayers make up three individual pieces of a pie. When put together, these three pieces create the whole of the annual property tax revenue for our taxing entities. As pieces of the pie change due to loss of business or increased home sale prices, for example, so do the sizes of each piece of our pie, with some areas contributing less to the overall revenue, shifting the burden to the other pieces of the pie to make up the difference. While our pie remains the same size overall, this shifting of the tax burden is required by state law in order to keep the revenue whole and therefore the budget for the taxing entities whole. Over the years, the centrally assessed portion of our tax base here in Carbon County has decreased. Why? Because industries that were previously booming in our area, such as mining, natural resources, power plants, and more, have been on the decline. This shifts more of the tax burden onto the commercial and residential taxpayers to make up the difference in order to keep the pie whole. Now let's talk about how the real estate market affects your home's value and how our local assessor determines the value of your home for tax purposes. According to propertytax.utah.gov, the fair market value of your home is theoretically the value at which your property would sell for on the open real estate market. One of the best ways to determine your home's market value is to look at the sale prices of homes similar to yours in your neighborhood. With supply and demand driving up the sale prices of homes across the state, this in turn is driving up the market value of homes not only in our area, but statewide. In order to determine the taxable value of each home in Carbon County, the state of Utah requires that the county assessor appraises the residential properties at between 95% and 105% of the fair market value of the property. If the value determined by the county assessor does not fall into this range, the state will force the assessor to increase or decrease the fair market value accordingly in order to obtain the appropriate taxable value of the residential property. Again, going back to propertytax.utah.gov, part or all of the fair market value may be exempt from taxation under Utah law. Residential properties that serve as primary residence of any household are taxed at only 55% of the fair market value. That means that a home that's fair market value is determined to be $100,000, for example, will only be taxed on $55,000. Meanwhile, secondary residences or unoccupied residential properties are taxed at 100% of their fair market value. Going back to our pie, with this decline in our centrally assessed tax base, and because of the recent surge in the fair market value of residential properties in our area, and therefore the taxable values of residential properties, the residential piece of our pie has grown for the 2022 tax year. This change in your home's market value and taxable value will be reflected on your Notice of Property Valuation and Tax Changes form. As a final note, you can find additional tax information on your property by going to www.carbonutah.com. If you feel there has been an error in the assessment and determined value of your property, or if you have any questions about your Notice of Property Valuation and Tax Changes form, please contact the County Assessor's Office or the Clerk Auditor's Office.
Thank you, Seth. We also appreciate Courtney and Kelly and the staff who put that together, the IT department. It's very informative. Taxes are difficult to understand, and I think the point we want to make is that the county is not receiving additional tax money compared to previous years, but the property owners of homes are getting a shift in the amount that they pay because of the increased values. Any other thoughts?
Just real quick, I want to say too that we did not raise taxes. The mill levy, the tax rate, that is still the same. The values of homes, your neighbors selling their house, and it's not just Carbon County, it's through the state, it's throughout the West. And so home values are increasing, supply and demand, it is pretty sparse throughout the state. The governor said a few months back that the state of Utah has about 20 to 25,000 homes on the market. And at that time, there were only 1,800 statewide. So the values of homes, what people are selling their homes for is really what's causing this. Personal story out in Westwood, a house that went for $400,000 3 years ago just sold last month for $660,000. So, I can thank my neighbor for my values going up on my house, but I can't blame it on these two other guys.
Thank you. We'll go to item number 4, on our agenda, consideration and possible approval of the Children's Justice Center contract renewal. Shelley Wright.
I actually sent this to Christian. I totally forgot to send it to you. Sorry about that. He approved it. I mean, he looked over it. Sorry. Okay, so the Children's Justice Center contract with the Attorney General's office, they are renewing the contract. It's a new contract because there are new requirements in the contract. Not new work for me, just a little bit more specific. The original contract was very generalized and the scope of work was 1 page. I think the scope of work is like 3 or 4 pages long. Just a little bit more detailed of what I'm held accountable for. And the funding that we get for this fiscal year 2023 is $116,655, and this does not include rollover money for fiscal year 2022. So hopefully I will be able to increase that a little bit from the rollover money that I didn't spend, which was about $7,000. So it's very little. So yeah.
Thank you, Shelley. Any questions for Shelley?
No, this is a longer term agreement too. I think it goes out to 2027. And so,
Yeah.
I know we've talked earlier about some other grants and the challenges we have with the current administration kind of backing off some federal dollars, which has made it a challenge. So
Yeah,
hopefully if we lock into some of these longer term contracts, it'll be safe as we move forward.
I hope so. I know that every year, even though this contract is goes out till 2027, every year they amend it just to reflect budget changes, and the budget will fluctuate, not by a lot, but goes up. It might go down a couple thousand, go up a couple thousand, but we usually will amend that every year. So
Well, I appreciate all the work that you guys do out there. I think you do a fantastic job. So I'll make a motion that we approve the Children's Justice Center contract renewal.
okay,
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
great.
Thank you, Shelley.
You're welcome. And I just need the contract signed. I can pick it up tomorrow morning from Jeannie, and then I just need to send it to them. And okay, thanks so
Okay,
much.
We'll do it. Thank
Okay,
you.
see you.
Item 5 on our agenda, possible transfer of ownership of personal property on parcel 2A-1101-0000 and 2A-1099-0000 in the abandoned Emery Resource Gas Field to the property owner. So what we have it's in the north Colt Creek area, where there were some gas wells that were drilled, and they attempted to produce those wells. The gas was not very plentiful, and they really couldn't make a profit at it. And so over time it was sold and then basically abandoned. So any of the things that were left when they took off, they did not pay the personal property taxes on those for a number of years. And so they've been, all of those items have been struck to the county for non-payment of the tax for those. We've spent time out there looking at everything that's there and feel like it's not in the best interest of the county to try to sell this stuff. It looks like it'll take more on our end dollar-wise to get it ready to sell and sell it. So one option was to just transfer those items to the landowner who owns the property, who's left with sort of this mess out there. And most of the items are things that would be metal salvage. And so this owner could either use them somehow, or he could bring a salvage company in and remove the items and make a little money off of it. So that's the gist of what's happening here. This is the second gas field that has run into this same situation. There was one up in the Clear Creek area, and also part of it was in Kenilworth. And so the wells themselves, the hole that has been drilled, is under the authority of the Department of Oil, Gas, and Mining for the state of Utah, or if they're on federal land, they're under the direction of the BLM. And currently in the Coal Creek area, there is a rig in there that's actually plugging 2 of the wells there, and that's the BLM doing that. There are additional wells that will be plugged by the Department of Oil, Gas, and Mining on these wells that we're talking about. So
I think just not really a question, but drawing back to the video that we watched, this is part of the reason of that shift, essentially assess shift, as these companies go bankrupt and lose their value, then this is part of that shift that's happening from centrally assessed properties to locally assessed. And this is a perfect example because they did not, they couldn't produce any gas, they couldn't make money, they went bankrupt. Now all that value is then shifted onto the homeowners and business properties.
Yeah, and just like in 2015 when the carbon plant shut down as well in Helper, and it had a huge effect on this area.
Yeah.
So, I don't have any other questions. I'll make a motion that we transfer to the ownership of the personal property on parcel 2A-1101-0000 and 2A-1099-0000 to the abandoned Emery Resource Gas Field to the property of, the abandoned Emery gas field to the property owner, the current property owner.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 6, consideration possible approval of Carbon County Chamber of Commerce Platinum Partnership.
I'll address this. This is an annual thing that we've done, and I think with the current staff, the president, they've had a change there, and I think they've done a great job to promote local businesses as best they can. This is just a renewal, a request for renewal for our membership in support of their ongoing work. So not sure that it needed to be on a commission agenda item, but I think it's good that we talk about it and maybe give a little thanks and praise to the Chamber of Commerce for the work that they do and helping local businesses. So was that on purpose? The show over?
I might mention the Chamber of Commerce is a real partner in our economic development efforts. So Shani Wilson, our economic development director, works closely with them, and it's a effort community-wide to try to make sure we diversify our economy and bring in industries that can take the place of those things that we're losing.
As well as our tourism board, they also sit on the tourism board and are members in that and trying to help grow the tourism side of our economy as well. I'll make a motion that we approve the payment to the Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $2,000.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 7, consideration and possible approval of an amendment to the airport lease and operating agreement between Utah State University and Carbon County.
Commissioners, I'll take this for just a second. As we work through some other agreements with Utah State, they had asked that we extend on a month-by-month basis their lease agreement until the rest of everything that we're working through with the management and FBO contracts on the airport. So this has one sentence that is added: if neither party has terminated this agreement by the termination date, this agreement shall automatically renew on a month-by-month basis until terminated by either party. So this is just adding that language that we can continue our lease agreement for the space out there that we're leasing to them on a month-by-month basis until we finalize a new contract with them.
And the space they're leasing is for what?
So the space that they have, they rent some hangar space in the Civil Air Patrol building for the 2 planes that they have. They also have in the upstairs of the main hangar, they have 2 classroom spaces, as well as a little bit of office space that they're renting from us for their flight program.
Thank you.
And I could mention too that not only that, but there's talk of expansion. They've really been a really good partner. It's really boosted their flight and their aviation program. So glad that we can utilize the fantastic facility we have out there and that young students are being trained. And right now we hear, if you've tried to travel anytime, that the pilot scarcity is canceling flights. So hopefully we can get a lot of these guys trained here locally, and they'll be flying us and our families around on vacation one of these days. So it's really pretty neat.
And they're really involved in bringing a lot of different things to the community. So this week we have flight training for Civil Air Patrol. There's people from several western states that are coming here for Civil Air Patrol that are learning how, students basically that are on scholarship, and they're learning how to fly planes. Hopefully they'll be able to get their first solo by the end of the week, as well as this will be the 2nd year in a row that we have flight competitions with several of the western states that'll come back here. Most of the schools in the west here that have a flight program, they come here and they compete in a flight program. They fly different routes. They do several different things. They check out their planes and they do some mechanic work, and all of this is judged against the other schools. And I think it was close to 15 schools here last year, all in that flight program, and there were probably 30 planes out there doing takeoffs and landings, and it was a really neat thing last year. So this will be the 2nd year in a row that they have that here. So they're a great partner.
Thank you. Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the amendment to the air lease operating agreement between Utah State and Carbon County.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 8 is consideration and possible approval of a term extension amendment to the lease agreement between Carbon County and Western Reserve Coal, Inc.
Commissioners, Ryan from Skyline Mine contacted me last week and asked for an extension. They're currently not mining in the area, but they're still using that section of the mine, and so I'll let him come up here and speak to this. And they're asking for an extension to the lease agreement that we have, where they're not mining our coal. It's not as much money, but it still does bring in some revenue to the county.
Yeah, and just to expand on that, my name is Ryan Wilson. I'm the land manager for Wolverine Fuels and Canyon Fuel Company. I know the agenda said Western Reserves, but the lease that is in existence is between Carbon County and Canyon Fuel Company. As Casey, Commissioner Hobbs alluded to, we are completed with this area of the mine. It's to the north of where the actual buildings are. It's actually probably directly west of Schofield, the town of Schofield. It includes the winter quarters facility that we have, where we had a fan at one point. Now it is still used for ventilation purposes. But this area of the mine, we have to maintain travelways. We have to inspect it weekly and daily. We do a lot of water handling through this portion of the mine. We do discharge some water into Schofield Reservoir out of winter quarters. The Carbon County lease covers this area around the winter quarters facility, as well as some acreage up to the north and a little bit down to the south. So just a little history on the lease. It started in 2002 when Skyline wanted to move up into the north area of the mine. We mined on and off on that property starting in 2009 through 2018. Recovered about 2.5 million tons of coal off of the 1,200 acres that we leased from you guys. So We're asking for an additional 5-year extension on the lease. That should provide us enough time to get our MSHA approval to seal off that portion of the mine, recover any remaining equipment, and close that portion of the mine down. So I sent a lease amendment for this and ask for your consideration of it. So, thank you. Is there any other questions?
If I could just add one more thing, and I don't know if this goes into any of the San Pete or Emery County leases, but we do have an agreement with Emery and San Pete where we get a portion of their revenues, because the mine portal is in Carbon County, and all the coal, the impacts of the coal are being felt in our community. So we might not be getting money directly from the coal, but we are getting a portion of the mineral lease from the areas that are being mined because of the portals and different things in our community. So it is a good thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree too. It'd be nice if they were extracting coal from up there, and if we're getting water, I mean, that's almost as valuable as coal, or maybe
Probably
more so
more.
nowadays. But yeah, I echo what Casey said. It was good, I guess, while it lasted, but
Yep, we maximized every possible resource we could get out of that area. So we're completed mining it, and the county got as good of a benefit as they possibly could have for it.
appreciate that.
Yeah, and the county received a lot of money from that coal that the county owned there that you mined.
Yeah, I looked up our records back to 2013 when we took it over. It was a significant amount. So.
Yeah, so thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion to,
I'll go ahead and make a motion then that we approve the term extension amendment for the lease agreement between Carbon County and Western Reserve Coal, or do I need to say Wolverine Coal? Canyon Fuel Company.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Ryan. Item 9, consideration and possible approval of cost reimbursement agreement with R Plus Energies. Anyone want to try to tackle that one? You want me to?
We can probably all jump in on that one.
I think this is the solar field in Wellington has been completed and commissioned. It's been turned on. Now it's producing power. And this same company would like to build an additional solar field north of the one they just built. And so their request is that we go through the same steps in creating a CRA that would help on the tax side of this. I think there's some confusion in the community over what that really means. Some people think we're taking tax dollars and giving to them. That's just the opposite. They are paying their taxes. We reimburse part of the tax back to them to help pay for some of the infrastructure that they put in. So there is additional income to the county from each of these deals that we cut. We've done that with Intermountain Electronics, with the solar company. There are others that are kind of in the works that haven't been triggered yet. So it's a pretty common thing for new industry that comes into an area. There are hundreds of cities and counties across the western United States that try to get people to move to their community, and this is one of the things that we're faced with, offering anyone who wants to move, because it's pretty much expected. So this agreement would allow for Smith Hardwickson, who is an attorney firm, to do work for Carbon County to create a CRA, and then the R Plus Energies will reimburse those costs back to the county and pay for all of the legal work that's required to create and put the CRA in place.
And if I could add to that too, the current land that they're looking at, where they developed and where they'll in the future develop, is been on Greenbelt. It's been hundreds of dollars for basically on 1,000 acres. So as we rezone and change this, we're going to receive, the county will receive a lot more tax dollars just from that. So as Commissioner Jensen said, as we rebate some of that money, it's more money coming in than we would have expected, just with the rezoning of that. Also with, the support that they give to the community. This last go around, they donated $75,000 to the local university for Carbon High School students to attend there and get more educated in the STEM curriculum. So they have been a good partner for the county, and they've really supported, and they really like being here. So I think it's wise that we support them, those that give back and help us, and it's just worked out really good for everybody.
Just to help clarify how that works, so whatever the base amount is at the date of the creation of the CRA, that remains in place. So if they're paying $200, they continue to pay $200 in property tax. Then the incentive is on the increment, and so if we give a 45% increment, they get 45% of the taxes that they pay back to them to put in the infrastructure. The other 45% goes directly to the taxing entities for whatever budgetary purposes that, just the same as any other property tax owner. And then at the end of the life, the full amount of the full value of the tax is split up between the entities based on the rates again. So at the end of the life of the CRA, we get the full value of whatever increment. So like with Intermountain Electronics, he does a certain amount of add-on, we'll get that full increment at the end of the life of that CRA. It's a good thing for the community. If we don't do it, we get the $200 or the whatever the land was valued at as vacant land.
Sure. And one more thing, if I could add too, is that the solar companies come back to us twice. Intermountain Electronics has come to us. If we had a coal mine, a nuclear site, any of that, we would still entertain it and try to bring those businesses here. We're not pushing away from coal. The power companies and their IRP are basically saying, their integrated resource plans are saying that they're pushing away from coal. So it's not us. It's not the commission. We would gladly open a coal mine here in Carbon County. We'd love to see it. We've worked with the previous company, CG3, to try to get something going. They found some issues with ports and terminals and shipping that just didn't make it happen. So I'm not opposed to solar personally, but I'm not opposed to coal or nuclear or wind or anything, any other source of energy. If they want to move to Carbon County, we'd be willing to entertain them.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? I'll entertain a motion to enter into this agreement.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the cost reimbursement agreement with R Plus Energies.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 10, we had this on our agenda last time in trying to determine how to offer, well, let me back up. The health department moved into the old courthouse and the old planning and zoning building. We took ownership of the old health department building as the trade. And so we advertised to sell that parcel, that building, that, what is it, on First East and Main Street? And we received no offers. And so we've had two different companies that we're looking at coming in. One was the health department, or excuse me, Four Corners Mental Health. And the other was
Carbon Medical.
Carbon Medical. And Carbon Medical's proposal was that they wanted the county to remodel the building and then lease it to them on a long-term lease. The other offer was from Four Corners Mental Health to purchase the building for a receiving center. And their offer to us, it was more attractive than for us borrowing money to do a remodel. So maybe we have not made a decision of how to do this, to sell it. We don't have to bring it back to the public in order to dispose of it, but it's probably wise that we do that. So what is happening, the state of Utah has given Four Corners some money to set up what's called a receiving center. If an individual is in a mental illness crisis, right now, the family tries to help them. If they can't, they call the police. The police usually gets involved, takes them to the hospital, or if they are a threat to themselves or to others, they can take them to jail. But in many cases, all they need is a little time to settle down, and maybe their medications are off. And the folks at Four Corners know these people, and they kind of can tell what's going on. And so in an attempt to try to keep them out of jail and out of the emergency room, the state now agrees that this probably is a better approach to having a facility where these people could be brought to, and they can monitor and watch them for 23 hours. And then they have to release them. Either if they haven't balanced out a little bit, then they would have to go into some type of a hospital facility, not here, but up north where they have beds for those with mental illness, or to jail. So this is a good option for them. The part of the money that I think the state has committed is going to come from the opioid lawsuit settlement. And so the state's going to have money for, is it 17 or 18 years? 18 years coming from the opioid drug companies and the distributors of those drugs. So Four Corners is going to receive some grant money that will be ongoing to help with this facility. This is the first facility in the state of Utah in rural Utah. Because of our high opioid addiction numbers in Carbon County, we're the worst in the state, and we were the poster child for the opioid lawsuit nationwide. So the state feels a little obligation to try to help our county out. So this is the first money that's been given to rural Utah for a receiving center. So in that receiving center, these are some of the things that the center would provide: alternate options to hospitalization, quick stabilize crisis situations locally, provide law enforcement an alternative to jail for individuals experiencing mental health crisis, diverting non-medical mental health crisis away from the hospital emergency departments, freeing up emergency response for those who with physical health crisis. The center would provide capacity for 4 to 6 individuals at a time with 24-hour monitoring. Four Corners will work with the community partners to develop exclusion criteria to ensure safety and sustainability. The center will always be staffed with 2 employees on shift, 24/7. The center will offer a person or telehealth contact with a therapist when arriving at the facility. MCOT services, those are, I forget, it's a mobile crisis, I think is what that is. Currently, staff therapists can be dispatched anywhere in a crisis. They're on call 24/7, and if the phone call comes in, they can go to the home, but this will actually help a little bit more, where the family wouldn't have to deal with someone as long. There will be services provided for those in crisis who suffer from mental health and or substance abuse disorders. So the offer that they have offered is to purchase the building for $200,000. They've made reference to hope that we could fix the roof before we sell it to them. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, it appears like this will be a real addition to our those in the area with mental health issues, and really help out. And Sheriff, you guys pull up in a patrol car and drop somebody off where you go to the hospital and you got to sit there and wait. And yeah. Yeah, many times they need a little space and some help with getting medication. So I'm kind of excited about it. So anyway, that's their offer. It's the building was appraised for $500,000. So this is much less than the appraisal value. But Four Corners is contracted by Carbon, Emery, Grand, and San Juan counties to care for the mental health issues of each of those four counties. So they're under contract with us to provide that service for our population. The county is responsible for the mental health of the citizens of the county. So we're lucky to have them in place, and the health department takes care of another side of that legal obligation that we have towards the citizens of the county.
So appreciate that. No, I don't think we should sit on that building. I know, like you said earlier, we did have it advertised for sale. There were no takers. Nobody put in for it. I'd rather see the building be used for something. I remember it being the old Woolworths building back in the day when I was younger and had hair. So I think it makes sense. This is a good, decent offer in my opinion. Obviously, we'd love to get the full value of it, but with being the condition that it's in, the roof that needs to be repaired, I think this is a decent, fair offer.
I agree. I think for me, I don't mind the purchase price, but I don't know that I would add the roof in because of the sale price that we're taking. We're taking a big discount on what the value of the property is. So in my opinion, I like the additional resource to our community, but I don't know that I would want to fix the roof. That's part of the sale.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm with that too. So
Is that a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the sale of the, what are we calling that building? The old health department building for $200,000.
As is.
As is.
I'll second that motion.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Well,
Oh,
we got that's for rolling up the screen on me. So
oh, sorry.
Consideration and possible approval of continued property tax exemption. Item 11. Seth.
Thanks. We each year bring forth our continued property exemption list. They're required to fill out a new application every year. These are two that we didn't receive. They were a little bit late, I guess the best way to say it. So these are other applications. One of them has been on the list previously. It's just a renewal of a past application. That's for Pinnacle Canyon Academy. There was also one new application that we received after the previous approval of the list. That's Lost and Found Ministries Corporation, which is a church, a nonprofit. So Those are the two that we are just suggesting to be added or bringing to your approval to be added to our continued property tax exemption list.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I'll make a motion that we approve the property tax exemptions for Lost and Found Ministries and Pinnacle Canyon Academy to be added to the continuing property tax exemption list.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Seth, do you want to mention the election, whatever you call it, that happened today?
Yeah. After each election, there's a time period where individuals have the opportunity to cure ballots if there was questions about their signatures or identity or address. We usually have a couple of ballots. I think we had about 24 that could be cured. We had some provisional ballots and some other mail-in ballots that we received after election day, but they can only be counted if they were postmarked as of the day before election day. So we had about 145 ballots that we processed today and were tabulated to finalize this June primary election. So we've got final numbers and they've been posted to the state's website and to our website. So that was something that we did today. It's called the canvas of the election. Again, it's something that we do after every election. So it's something that we also have to advertise. It was advertised on the public notice website and newspaper and that type of thing. So
With the added ballots, nothing changed from the election day results of the winners.
yeah, no, there was no changes.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.